Kamusta na kayo?
Hola, hola, everyone.
What's poppin', everybody? My name is Nico Blitz.
And I'm Jackie Ramirez.
And welcome to another episode of Mexipino Podcast. We are here and we are celebrating AAPI month. That is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month over here in the US of A.
Yep. So shout out to all of our listener family who falls under the umbrella of AAPI.
Yeah.
We're super excited that, our podcast has reached a bunch of different people, a bunch of different backgrounds. And we celebrate you guys pretty much every podcast.
Every single podcast, man. And I want to ask the age-old question because it is specifically Asian American and Pacific Islander month, because I was filling out a survey the other day because my taxes, they're just going crazy right now, and I got a little bit of an extension. And it was funny because they had asked me you know how they basically have the question of like, are you Hispanic? Are you non-Hispanic? I obviously put no.
Yeah.
And then they ask for your ethnicity. So me being Filipino American, under the ethnicity, it says Asian or Pacific Islander. And I always question myself. I'm like, do I mark Asian or Pacific Islander? But this time around, they didn't even have that option. It was just Asian.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So they didn't even give me the option to pick Pacific Islander. And I'm like, yo, it's May. It's AAPI month.
So does that mean that technically you would identify with Pacific Islander since you were kind of hurt that it wasn't on there?
Well, I mean, it would have been nice to have the option to at least decide if I wanted to be Pacific Islander for the day, but no. Yeah. I mean, I'll be Asian for the day, and it's all good with me. You know what I mean?
I'll be Asian for tax purposes.
I'll be Asian for tax purposes. I'll be Asian for medical purposes, and all of that.
Period. Okay. Yeah, well, man. Happy AAPI month to all those who celebrate. And embrace yourselves, embrace your culture, embrace your ethnicity, because we love you.
Amen to that. We're also going to have a whole bunch of AAPI guests. I think we have Good Morning Gabe coming in a little bit. Next week. Not even in a little bit, but next week.
Yeah, not even. I was going to be like, babe, we didn't clean the apartment, so we
shouldn't.
We're going to have some guests coming up. We're working on a list of guests because we know we had a lot in the beginning of the year and kind of dwindled down, but we're going to have a little bit more. And also to start off AAPI month on a great note.
Yes.
We have officially announced Mexipino Food Fest.
Mexipino Food Fest, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's not going to be during AAPI month, but it is going to be on July 21st.
Yeah, July 21st, and it is going to be back home in LA, our Montebello location at St. Benedict's Church, July 21st from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, come back to the Bay, or we want it in San Diego, or we're working on it. Believe me when I say it, we are working on it. To be just completely transparent with you guys, the Bay is it's expensive. There's not a lot of room out there to find some venues, but we have some in mind. San Diego, we are super close to securing a venue out there, and hopefully we're gonna be going to Sacramento too, so hopefully that one's looking really good too. So I would say Sacramento and San Diego are the other ones to look out for. The Bay specifically, it is very hard, but we do want to go back. We do want to go back to the Bay, so just be patient with us. But as of right now, July 21st, Mexipino Food Fest Montebello is back. St. Benedict's Church, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good for summer. It's going to be good for y'all. And, Montebello, the city itself, it's cool because it's kind of in the middle between where Hispanics and Asians meet.
Oh, yeah. It's literally, it's Montebello, Monterey Park, Whittier, Downey. It's literally, just a cluster of, hella, Asians and Latinos. And I grew up with hella Asians and Latinos, more predominantly Latino. But once I got to high school, I really like kind of discovered, I'm like, oh shit, there's a bunch of Asians out here. Yeah.
There's a lot.
It's kind of weird. Like, I didn't really get exposed, like I said, to Asian like culture or Asian people that much until like I was probably a freshman in high school.
Well, I think one thing that a lot of people tend to forget, I mean, you might know if you listen to this podcast, is that Jackie, being a Latina American, she speaks Japanese.
Yeah, I do, which is kind of weird. I guess for other people, not for me. I like whenever I tell people that I speak Japanese, they're kind of like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's the reason I speak Japanese is because my dad didn't want me to get an easy A in Spanish class in high school.
Yeah.
He's like, you already know the language. I was like, exactly. Like, that's exactly why. He's like, no, you need to learn something else, da, 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 da. And I was going to do French. I was going to take French. And he's like, when are you going to go to France? I was like, when am I going to go to Japan? Like, and
I mean, I'll go to Japan before I go to France.
True,
I'll say that.
But in that, like, I don't know. I just thought, like, French would have been, like, so, like, oh, my God, you know? But, like, I am very proud of the fact that I can speak a little bit of Japanese and that I could function and ask for, like, directions or order things or, you know, try and help people if I were to speak Japanese. But, yeah, it's a fun like fact about me.
It's pretty cool.
Not a lot of people know.
I mean, Jackie, she just got invited to a restaurant this past Saturday.
Yeah, this past Saturday.
You want to tell everybody the story about that restaurant?
So I don't know. I don't know if it was because I had like posted a video of me speaking Japanese in an interview clip with Umi, who's a Seattle R&B artist. She's half black, half Japanese. And in the beginning of the clip, I'm speaking Japanese, and literally, like, not even, I want to say, like, a day or two later, I get a DM from Yuzu Bentoya, which is here in LA, which is a Japanese bento restaurant. And they offered, you know, for us to go try their food. And I was super excited because bento boxes are basically like lunch boxes. Like, you can customize your lunch box however you want. Everyone has their different ways of like creating their lunch boxes in Japan. And it was so good. The place itself was in like a sketchy area.
Super sketchy, yo. Like, it was kind of crazy. Like, you know, when you're driving around and then you go through like the industry of like downtown, like you see nothing but like the smog coming up from these buildings, yo.
Yeah, so like it was interesting. I was like, maybe we're gonna get closer to like Staples Center or Crypto like Arena, like as we're going through these buildings. And then it says like turn left and then your destination will be on your left. I'm like, what? And then so like it's this little like restaurant, like free parking though. So
yeah, I mean that shit was in the cuts, but it was free parking.
Yeah, in the cuts, but free parking and amazing food, and you can like watch anime episodes while you're eating. Music is super chill.
Yeah, they had city pop type music going on, and then they also had like One Piece playing.
Yeah, and the food, like I said, is really freaking amazing. I really wish I got the chicken that you got, but I really loved the salmon that I got, the salmon bento box that I got, and it was really amazing. Shout out to Jason, the guy that works there and that reached out. I mean, he was super nice. He's actually Filipino, so that was kind of funny.
That was another crazy thing. It was like, okay, so you had the Filipino guy who was like the marketing person for this Japanese restaurant.
Yeah, but all in all, it was a great experience. Their yuzu drink was really good. That
was super good. It was like this matcha type of thing.
Yeah, green yuzu or yuzu matcha, like green tea or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. Like, it was really good. I'm gonna be posting some of that food like on my Instagram, so if you guys want to check that out, Yuzu Bentoya, you guys have to go. Again, it's in the cuts, but great food.
Let me explain how much in the cuts this was. He had told us a story about like this family of like...
No, it was a basketball team.
Okay, so it was a basketball team, and there was of like a lot of like, you know, like little girls, right? So then this basketball team comes to the store, and then they end up buying their food. But next thing you know, they just hear something. They hear an ambulance just outside. When all the little girls, and I'm talking about like 10-year-old girls or whatever, they look outside, they see somebody had just like died or like got shot in their trailer right outside.
So like a homeless person, like I think got like murdered in their RV, and
which is insane. I was like, whoa, bro.
But honestly, you're in downtown LA, so like, I mean,
you know what you get when you go to downtown LA,
like literally. But I mean,
but the food was on 10
again. The food, amazing. In the cuts, but amazing.
Yes.
So you guys should go try Yuzu Bentoya in LA. Yeah, you guys should really try it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Tell Jason that we sent you. Tell them that we sent you.
Yeah, for real, because we want more discounts.
Yeah, you won't get a discount, and I don't know if we will, but at least they know that we're talking about it. So.
Amen to that. I was listening to a couple podcasts, one of them being a producer podcast, and they had like a really cool, I guess, segment, and it was a super quick segment, and it basically went one gotta go.
Okay.
So they decided between like 3 things, and basically one of those 3 things had to go, whether it be like, oh, DJs versus musicians versus like drummer, something of that sort, right?
Okay.
So I decided that I wanted to bring that into the podcast, and there's actually like a little phrase that Jackie mentioned to me when I brought this idea up.
Yeah, so if you guys watch Don Francisco, you guys know that like there was like this guy dressed in like, also the guy was very scary when I was young, but he was dressed in a costume. He would play a trumpet, and then he'd go like, they'd start saying like fuera, 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 which ultimately means like you gotta go, like you gotta get out, like you're done, leave type of thing. You're
done.
So we could like just say like, we could start this as like I don't know, like one gotta go, and then once I choose, we just gotta say fuera.
Okay, so we're gonna be like fuera, fuera at the end. Okay,
okay. All right. So like one gotta go.
Okay, so one gotta go. Tapatio, Cholula, or Valentina hot sauce?
Damn.
That's tough.
It is tough because Tapatio, like, I basically put that on everything.
Yeah. I feel like Tapatio's like the main one that a lot of people like to use, but it's also very mainstream, I guess.
But like Valentina is like also, like, I don't know. I just like, it's like a thicker consistency.
Yeah.
So I love it. And I don't know, sometimes Cholula, it like, if it's watered, like sometimes it looks like it's watered down. But I do love the spice of it sometimes. But it has to be like sometimes the bottle is like it's not good.
Damn. Okay. So.
But like I don't know the design of the bottle of the Cholula sauce though.
I think in like rapper terms, I would say like Tapatio is more like Drake because it's kind of like everywhere. Cholula would kind of be like Kendrick because it's like some people like him, some people don't like him. Whereas like Valentina is kind of like there's only a certain amount of people who really like this one.
I think Valentina is very popular.
Okay.
Yeah, Valentina is very popular, and you haven't really had Valentinas, which is why I think you're saying that.
Yeah.
But. Okay, I think if one gotta go, it's Cholula hot sauce.
Cholula gotta go.
I think Cholula's gotta go.
Man,
I think Cholula's gotta go.
But why?
I think my dad or my mom, one of them is gonna get mad at me. But like, yeah, because my dad doesn't like Valentina, but I like Valentina because you could put it on like those the what are they called? Hold on, because I don't want to get roasted on the internet. Hold on. Oh my gosh, what are they called? They're like little like wheels. I just know them as like the little wheels.
Hot Wheels.
No, Raspado Man chips. Because the Raspado Man always has those chips.
Oh, so like the circular chips?
Yes, those.
You are not Googling Raspado Man circle chips.
See?
Okay, well, what are they called?
It pops up. So. Sir.
So we could just call them Raspado Man circle chips.
The chicharrones. Okay. Okay. Also hot topic because some people call like the chips that the Raspado Man has, the like wheel round looking one, some people call them chicharrones. Some people call them chicharrones, but chicharrones is also like the pork rinds, and that's not pork rinds.
Yeah.
So like, I guess it's kind of all where you come from, like what you call them. So I don't know, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Valentina on those, fire. So that's why I can't get rid of Valentina.
All right, so Valentina Chalula it is. Yeah, Chalula is fuera.
Okay, what about you? Wait, I have one for you.
Okay.
One gotta go.
Okay.
Lumpia. Sisig. Adobo.
Whew. I'd say, I think the regular Filipino person would say this is kind of difficult, but this is pretty easy for me. This is pretty easy for me. I would say if one gotta go, then it has to be adobo.
Dang. Well, yeah, you don't eat adobo that much.
I don't, because, you can get chicken anywhere, right? But then, like, it's really just the marination of it. But sisig, I can't get rid of. And lumpia, it's just the finger food. So, because I could pick up lumpia with my hand, I'm not going to pick up chicken adobo with my hand. And then sisig, I'm simply just not getting rid of.
Interesting.
So, we got to say goodbye to chicken adobo, like, with ease.
That's crazy. Are you losing your Filipino card over this?
Not even, dude. Not even. No, fuera.
That's crazy.
Oh, my God. Speaking of Filipino cards, right? The past, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, I guess people just see me as like the Filipino guy, because there have been like 2 instances where it's like I was supposed to know everything about like Filipinos, right?
Right.
So I want to talk about this first instance, right? One, I get a text from my friend Vincent. Mm-hmm. And he texted me like, "Hey, Mr. Pinoy." Okay, wait. Let me get her name right, because I want to make sure I shout her out right. So I get a text from my boy Vincent, and he texts me. Where is it?
Dun, dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun. I'm gonna move it to Jackie really quick.
Okay, it basically had to do with the girl who was the Drake feature. No?
I got it now.
Okay.
So my boy
restart.
So now my boy Vincent texted me. He said, "Hey, Mr. Pinoy, do you know Jessica Domingo? Not trying to argue. Serious question. LMFAO." And I'm like, LOL, not personally. Why? She's the rich baby daddy girl. And wait, but what I mean by she's the rich baby daddy girl, if you guys hear that song, the sample in the beginning is actually Jessica Domingo's voice. She is the one singing, and she is the recurring sample throughout that song.
And she is Filipino.
Yes, and she is Filipino. Long story short, she was performing in Seattle, and my boy went to go see her perform. Mm-hmm. And then the next morning, I was taking a shit, and I was thinking to myself, I was just like,
say you were using the restroom.
Well, I was using the restroom, and then I was thinking to myself, I was like, this guy really texted me, "Hey, Mr. Pinoy, do you know this other Filipino person?" And he's Filipino. And then I thought to myself, like, am I supposed to know every single Filipino person on this earth?
It's because everyone like sees you on social media, and like, you're basically like the go-to for like, you're the dot connector for Filipinos.
Oh no, please do not call me the dot I do not want the title dot connector first and foremost, but I know, PSA, I do not know every single Filipino on this earth.
Well, you know why too? It's because like, it's like Latinos. Like,
okay,
you go to your tita or your like your tío or your tía, and they're just like, "Oh, do you know so and so?" Like, no, they're like, "Oh, well, it's because like, you know, they know this person and you know that person and da da da." It's like, just because we're the same ethnicity doesn't mean we know everybody.
Yeah.
Like, just because I'm Mexican doesn't mean I know every Mexican. Just because you're Filipino doesn't mean you know every Filipino. But like, our tias and our tios just think that we do. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, "Oh, you know so-and-so?" No, I don't. I know of them, but I don't know them.
Yeah. Well, that being said, I don't know Jessica Domingo, but hey, we do need you on the podcast, my friend, whenever you are in LA.
Yes.
Let me just say that. Speaking of your tios, right? So we've been going
Where's
to...
this going?
No. So we've been going to like a lot of your family parties. Like a lot of family parties.
Actually, for once.
Yeah. And so it was funny because in one family party in particular, Jackie actually had work, so I was kicking it with Jackie's family. Her uncle then calls me over because he saw, I was just chilling. I was eating, I was chilling, I was having a good time, but he called me over just to talk to me. And, me and her uncle, Big Chops, we just be having conversations about BS or just, whatever's going on in life. And he was like, hey, bro, what shows are you watching right now? And, I hit him with, I'm watching Ripley, I'm watching whatever. He was like, yo, there's a super dope show on Hulu right now about a Filipino lady. This show is called The Cleaning Lady. And if you didn't know, the Philippines actually has a lot of things that emanate from there. One of them being nurses and the other one being cleaning ladies. And a lot of them migrate over here to the U.S. from the Philippines. And essentially, that is what the story was about. He said, bro, this lady, she's from the Philippines. She was a doctor over there. But then her whole story is about her moving to the U.S. and her just being a cleaning lady for these people over here in the U.S. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. I'm kind of with it. And then Jackie's cousin, a.k.a. Big Chops' daughter,
Jaylene.
She doubled down.
Shout out to Jaylene.
Yeah, shout out to Jaylene. She doubled down and she's like, yeah, Nico, she's from Manila. Just pulled that one all the way far from her ass. And this is the reason why. Because
You don't have to say that.
I'm just saying. So Jackie and I end up going on Hulu that night. I tell her about the cleaning lady. We look up the cleaning lady. And first off, the first thing that caught my eye was that it only starts on season 3. So bummer, we couldn't watch season 1 or 2. But the description of the show said, oh, this lady migrates from Cambodia. This Cambodian lady.
A Cambodian lady. And we were reading that. That was literally the first 3 words of the description was a Cambodian lady. And we're like, this is not even, she's not even Filipino.
Bro, she's not Filipino. Where did you get that from?
So my uncle made an honest mistake. He made an honest mistake.
Oh, I grilled him.
You did not grill him.
No, I grilled him in the family group chat. I was like, hey, bro, she wasn't even Filipino. She was Cambodian.
And my uncle felt so bad afterwards that he FaceTimed us and he was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, it's fine. You're totally fine. We just think it was hella funny because my family always wants to try and relate to you.
Yeah.
And so they always want to bring up something that's Filipino related. But this was obviously not that.
But then I thought to myself, because then your uncle did apologize, and I was like, nah, it's all good. Don't even apologize. And I thought to myself, where did Jaylene get Manila from? Out of all places, how did she even come up with Manila if she's been watching this show?
That's actually very true. Maybe she just knows about the Manila, Philippines,
I guess so. But then,
babe, people know about the Philippines.
Yeah, that's true. Shout out to the Philippines.
Shout out to my cousin Jaylene.
And shout out to y'all. Hey, I still want to watch Cleaning Lady, though, because it does seem like a good show.
Well, we can't find season 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, it is true because what tends to happen is that if you are a nurse in the Philippines or if you don't get a nursing job, the next tendency is to move out from the United States and literally just become a maid. My cousin, actually, my Ate Mary Beth, she is a housemaid over in Canada. And she's been there for maybe about 10, 12 years now, or maybe even longer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And honestly,
this is my first time hearing about Ate Mary Beth.
Yeah, but I think what's funny is that people see the word maid or
I don't like the word maid. I don't like the word maid.
That was my point. How come? Why?
A housekeeper is better. A maid just seems I don't know, very olden days to me. And very it just seems very below me. I think you're below me. It just gives off, because I guess I've had that representation has always been in movies and also history books and oh, you're the maid of the house. It's okay, controversial, you know?
I mean,
I don't like calling people maids. I'd rather call them like a housekeeper because they still ultimately tend to the house.
I get what you mean by like, I guess, softening up the word by using like housekeeper.
It's
but
not even softening up the word.
I mean, it is, because you just said that like maid is like degrading.
It is.
Yeah, so you soften up the word by saying housekeeper.
Yeah, but you treat them with more respect than like a maid you would have back then.
No, but what I'm saying, so to my point is like being a maid, which is a pretty common word in the Philippines, and it's a pretty common like job in the Philippines. Like they're called a maid, and like the thing is, people don't see it as demeaning over there. And because that's the ecosystem that I grew up with, like, I don't necessarily see it as demeaning. I actually see it as a pretty, like, high standard job. Because, I mean, you get maids who, like, steal shit. You get maids who can't upkeep the house.
Yeah, but then that's, like, that's in a different country. The country we were raised in. And, like, historically, a maid is someone that is beneath you.
I wouldn't necessarily agree to that.
To each their own. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at history books, the way that maids are portrayed in movies and in shows and
in the American history books.
That's literally what I said.
Yeah.
But like the country that we grew up in, that's why I don't like to use the word like maid. I'd rather use like housekeeper. You know?
Yeah. No,
because it just shows more respect for a person.
Yeah.
You get me? I don't know. But like here, I guess. That's me being grown up here.
Yeah, all I know is going back to the Philippines and hanging out with my boy. He's like, yeah, bro, I pay my maid like high dollar over here. And I'm like, good for you, dude. Like, at least she's getting her money. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't know. But anyway, moving on from that, Nico's been DJing a lot of weddings lately. You guys have seen it on his like Instagram and all of that. I think a lot of people like seeing those videos that you put out from the like weddings that you DJ, just because like I feel like weddings now have so many like it's like our generation that's getting married and everything like that, and we're just like have a different cluster of like music now in weddings. Wouldn't you agree?
I kind of agree, but also kind of don't, because like there's a couple songs of like today that I can bleed into the wedding scene, like A Rich Baby Daddy, for example. But for the most part, I'm playing the same thing every single time. Like,
but that's what I mean. Like, it's because of like the generation that you're DJing for. Like, if you were to have DJ'd for like, I don't know,
20-year-olds?
No, like I'm saying like people who were in their who are in their 40s that got married like a few years ago or something like that. Like if you were to DJ my aunt's wedding, it would have been like old school like Spanish music, like cumbias and all that, like the traditional shit. And now all the people that you're DJing for are our age. They're like now have like emo like hour for their weddings.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that normally wasn't a thing.
Yeah, that's true. I guess to your point, I see what you're saying, because there's no way in the 2000s you would have played like 2000s emo music for like 30-year-olds or people who were getting married at that time. And so it's interesting now, because at least for me, this is probably going to be like the start of like the prime moments of me DJing, just because it's all the music that I love to play anyway. But I could play anything between like just the 2000 stuff or like the 90s R&B. But get into like some YMCA and like September and like just all the super old stuff. But where I have a lot of fun is when the bride and groom want like very specific things for their wedding when it comes to like an emo night,
right?
Or when it comes to like a Disney hour or something. So like this past weekend, I was DJing over in San Diego. Shout out to Mandy and Robin, like my cool friends, and you know, they booked me for their wedding. And she literally put in the notes of the wedding, like, we want an hour's worth of like emo music and also throw in Disney songs, because a lot of them worked at Disney. And that's how she has like a lot of her friend group. And so I told myself, like, man, like, it's actually very cool and refreshing as a DJ to be able to play these things, because, you know, at a wedding, like, I'm typically going to play like a YMCA or like September or like 90s R&B or like Yeah by Usher. So to get me out of that comfort zone and like playing emo music or Disney music and letting these songs ride out for the entire time, which definitely took up the hour, and I probably could have gone on for a little bit longer, like, it felt refreshing, and it was just cool to see. It was cool to witness.
Yeah, I think like I said, seeing your videos is very interesting, but it also it's funny to me when you come back from DJing weddings and you tell me, you're like, yeah, I just realized the stuff that we don't need at ours. So like,
yeah.
As a DJ, what would you say is the most like time consuming and like number one thing on your list that weddings don't actually need?
So, I mean, all these venues are really on a time constraint, right? Like, you really have the venue from like 5 p.m. to like 10 p.m. or something of that sort, like a good 5 hours. And what I tend to see is that a lot of people like to extend the time of like certain events within the wedding. And by events, I mean like mother-son dance or father-daughter dance. Those two are perfectly fine. But the one thing I don't really like when it comes to weddings, and where you can really cut corners around your time, is the cake cutting.
That is your number one. You always complain about that.
I always complain about the cake cutting, because whenever I see a like timeline and then it's like cake cutting for 10 minutes, I'm like, the cake cutting is gonna take like 2 minutes. And I believe that the cake cut, and I'm not judging anybody who has done this, but I believe that the cake cutting should just be a moment between the bride and groom, maybe like a little after dinner, like after like people have been served their food and whatnot, and just call it a day.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really have to make it a moment for everybody to look at, because I be looking at people's faces and they're just like, oh, we gotta watch them cut this cake. And then, matter of fact, my other thing is, that's not even the cake that they be serving people. There's a cake in the back.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, is that there's a trend now of like kind of cutting corners when it comes to weddings.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like this generation of the people getting married, they found a way to like kind of cut back on cost on weddings. And one of those ways is having a fake cake. So like there's a big tiered cake.
Yeah.
But like only a portion of it is real.
Yeah.
And they use that to cut it. And in the back there's like a Costco sheet cake. Costco cake is fire, by the way.
Yes.
But like they'll serve that to their guests, and it's like, that's smart though. Like low key,
That's smart.
That's hella smart.
'Cause you'd be saving hella money on that cake, because really it's just the top part of the cake with like, you know, the image of the bride and groom. That's the only part that they really cut.
To like have the bride and groom thing on top of a cake.
I mean, some people do it, which you know, that's cool with me. Like, you know,
I just don't know. I haven't been to a wedding like. And I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a cool thing for sure. And, you know, but, you know, back to the topic, like, I think if the cake cutting just wasn't like a 10-minute moment, like, it'd be fine. Now, I mean, I'm not sure if they really do this in like Mexican weddings, for example, but they do have like the money dance.
Oh yeah, we do.
Okay, cool. And you know, I think the money dance is probably one of the best things that you can use to transition into like the whole dance floor thing.
I actually am not a fan of the money dance.
Really?
I'm not a fan of the money dance. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion. Like, if you want to give me money, just put it in like a fucking box at the table. Like, just do that. Because like, I feel like it takes so much time, and then not everyone has cash, and then like it just becomes like a cluster, and I already don't like a lot of people around me.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can only imagine like having a cluster of people around me, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like I cannot do this. That's like my one thing. One of my many things that I do and don't want for my wedding. I just have to figure out how to like, you know.
I don't know, man. I definitely want the money dance. That should be popping.
Yeah, but like I don't know. It has to be organized. Like my thing is like someone gotta be in control of that shit because I hate clusters. I hate like it's gonna be a strict like 7 minutes. And that's it. Everyone gets fucking 10 seconds. No, everyone gets 10 seconds with me. Everyone gets 10 seconds with me, and that's it. We have the rest of the night. I'm paying for this fucking venue to go up until like 11. Nah, I'm getting my fucking money's worth. Like, I'm not spending 30 minutes on fucking money dance.
No, but the thing is, you get everybody to start getting up and then start dancing.
No, there's different ways to do it. There's different ways to do it. I think there's different ways to do it.
I just say, as a professional wedding DJ, that is the most effective way to get people on there.
No, I disagree. We're gonna.
What's the other way?
Well, there's other ways. Like, okay, so you know how, like, okay, so for my quince. I know this is a quince, not a wedding, but for my quince, I really loved my MC for my quince because what he did was like he told everybody like he had played like kind of games with the tables at the end of like dinner and at the end of speeches and at the end of like solo dances. And he's like, all right, we're gonna play a game. Whoever has $1, like bring it out. Blah blah. I'm not saying we can't have the money dance, but then like. Whoever landed on the dollar, like it was kind of like hot potato. And then whoever landed with $1 at the end got to keep it and is now the leader of the table. So everybody stands back up. Everyone has to like lock chain and with the leader. He's like, all right, you guys got 30 seconds to get to the dance floor and the leader has to bring you through the tables. So he gets everyone in 30 seconds on the dance floor. He goes, all right, while we're here, we're going to take a group picture. Takes a group picture with, like, I'm in the front and center of this picture and everybody's behind me. My quince looks fucking lit. And he's like, then he started the dance. Like, he's like, while we're up here, let's get to dancing. Literally 90% of those people, and I would say the other 10% were like the oldies that can't really dance, stayed on the dance floor.
Oh, okay. That's
cool. I thought that was the most effective way. I was like, that's fucking smart.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I can't even front. That sounds pretty effective.
Yeah,
I can't
and
even hate
plus
on
you
that.
get a group picture with everybody who's there at that moment, not like a picture at the end of the night with like only 30% of the people that like are left.
Yeah.
You get a picture with like everyone that was there in that core moment.
Yeah. I definitely feel that. I think one other like way around that because I mean, I don't like being in like massive group photos if I don't know everybody on there. I just think it's kind of awkward, but also like it's whatever to me. But I think one cool way that the bride and groom, who I just DJ'd for, what they ended up doing was that the wedding planner for the day, she was calling up like each of the tables to get their food. Now, what she did was she called up each table. She told them to get like their plates, put it kind of like behind their back or kind of hidden. And then before they ended up getting their food, they took a photo with the bride and groom. And at least at that point, you're guaranteed a photo that you're more than likely going to post with like the people that you're like sitting with.
Yeah, I like that idea too of like going around to the table, like doing like a quick game, how it is like, oh, like you guys got to do like a crazy picture. You have like 10 seconds with the bride and groom. Start thinking, all right, go. I like those types of interaction type of weddings. I feel like I have so many restrictions and like thoughts and ideas when it comes to my wedding. Like,
yeah, see, I'm just like, let's make it efficient.
No, like I feel like our generation of like people who are getting married have so many like do's and don'ts to their wedding, and I completely understand them and I completely respect them. What I don't like is when people don't respect them and don't like think that those rules don't apply to them.
Yeah.
Like it's a trend now and has been that a lot of people want kid-free weddings.
Yeah, I think a kid-free wedding is probably the best case scenario.
1,000%. Like, I understand that my family and your family have kids, and by the time that, like, you know, hopefully we do get married, that those kids are going to be of a certain age but still considered kids. Unless they're a bride and groom specifically say, hey, your kid is exempt, and they have a no kids rule, don't bring your fucking kid.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It's literally, don't bring your kid. And if you can't, sorry. Like, we appreciate, like, we still have you in our thoughts at the day of the wedding, but respect what people do and don't want at their wedding.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think it's a funny thing if, like, people try to, like, push the issue, like, hey, I know it says no kids, but, like, what about mine?
Yeah, it's like, especially yours. Those are the people. Yeah, the people that say, like, hey, like, I know you said no kids, but, like, can I please take, like, little Aiden? No. Leave Aiden at home. Like, you're the reason that Aiden is the reason that we put no kids on the freaking invitation.
As a matter of fact, it's funny because you get like months and months worth of advance to like, or in advance rather, to make sure that you have like a babysitter or whatever for that night.
No, literally. Like, and I just think that a lot of people need to respect that like aspect of weddings now. And some people still don't have the nerve to like test the limit, especially too when it comes to like, a phone free wedding at the ceremony. Oh my God. The way I want to do that for my wedding, because I know I can already see family members like being like this while I'm walking down the aisle. If a phone is in my face while I'm walking down the aisle, I will smack that phone out of their hand.
So my Ate Holly had her wedding like many moons ago. I want to say maybe like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago or something like that. And it was cool. It was like in Monterey Bay. And it was an outdoor ceremony. And then the reception was just right across the street, right? So during the outdoor ceremony, literally there was somebody who said, hey guys, the bride and groom kindly asked that this will be a phone-free ceremony. We have a videographer here who's capturing all the moments. We have a photographer here who is capturing all the moments. They do not want any cameras like in any of the shots. They don't want any of your phones in the shots. They also don't want any flashes or anything like that. Okay, cool. And I understood 1,000%, right? And so next thing you know, my Ate Holly and Brian, they're like walking down the aisle. Guess who the fuck has their phone out?
Who?
My dad. My dad had his freaking phone out filming the whole thing. And literally me and my mom looked at him like they literally just said no phones, and you are the only person here with your phone out.
I love your dad, man.
I was like, Dad, they just said it. Put your phone away.
Did he end up putting his phone away?
He put it away. I think what ended up happening, if I could recall, was that somebody had said after they had made it to, you know, the aisle, at the end of the aisle, someone was like, hey, just a reminder, this is a phone-free wedding.
That's crazy. Like, see, I would have had whoever, you know, said that, like, been like, if you bring out your phone, they ask that you're going to be escorted out. I'm going to be such, like, I think a bridezilla when it comes to that stuff, where it's like, if you don't respect my do's and don'ts, you're out. Yeah, like, yeah. I can't. But your dad is just so funny. Your dad is funny. Like, if it was gonna be anybody, I would have
exactly. And I know it was my dad because I remember that moment vividly, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? What are you doing?
You should ask him. Or
no, he don't remember. He don't remember.
Or maybe he does.
No, he doesn't. And matter of fact, he has it on his phone, and I guarantee you he's never looked back at that video. I 1,000% guarantee you he's never looked back at that video.
We should ask him.
Nah.
No, like when we see him next time, like, we should ask him.
If he remembers?
Yeah, if he remembers. Or I should just be like, do you have a video of like Ate Holly's wedding? And see what he says.
Oh my God. As a matter of fact, I do. Well, anyways, y'all, Once again, Mexipino Food Fest is happening July 21st. I actually need to put up the Eventbrite. So
yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna tell you right after, but by this time the Eventbrite should be up.
Amen to that. We're also gonna put out like a little discount code for the next podcast, so just be wary about that. My name is Nico Blitz,
And I'm Jackie Ramirez,
and this is the Mexipino Podcast. We are out, everybody. Happy AAPI month. Peace.